Byron, thank you so much. 8:34, everybody. In New York City's congestion pricing plan expected to go into effect this spring, right? The MTA will hold public hearings on the new toll program starting next month. Meantime, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says congestion pricing violates the Constitution by discriminating against residents of the Garden State. He goes on to say this. Take a look. The federal government and the MTA can no longer be permitted to fast-track a proposal that solely benefits New York's transportation system at the expense of hard-working New Jerseyans.
New Jersey is suing the U.S. Department of Transportation over congestion pricing, and now that lawsuit has been amended to add this new claim.
So joining us this morning, New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer, who argues that New Jersey commuters should be exempt from that toll. Congressman, good to see you.
Great to see you.
And here we are, new year, new argument, same argument. So you're calling the congestion toll a cash grab, right? Filed for this lawsuit over the summer. It's been amended several times. Here we are, we're months away from this really beginning. What is that lawsuit going to do, if anything?
Well, I think hopefully it puts the brakes on this whole thing. We've been saying for years, and now the evidence is out pretty clearly, this is nothing but a cash grab for New York and for the completely mismanaged MTA, which, as you know, is constantly in the news because of how much of a mess it is and how poorly it's run. And so they need New Jersey's cash. Now, here's the good news. We discovered recently when we did the math that actually New York is going to raise through the congestion tax far more than they need, $3.4 billion versus the $1 billion that's required by the law in New York that put the congestion tax into effect. So for Jersey, our argument is you don't need our money, despite the fact that you will try to pick our pockets to help your problems. You don't need the hardworking dollars from Jersey commuters. They pay enough to go over the GW Bridge and through the tunnels with the tolls as it is. Okay. There's no need to ticket to them.
Yeah, but in this lawsuit, they also named two plaintiffs who live in New Jersey, right? They drive to work in New York within the central business district, but they're not eligible for exemptions. Can you tell us more about those plaintiffs? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that fall in the same category.
So what the governor's lawsuit and the state's lawsuit does, which I think is very shrewd because it's completely accurate. New York said, listen, we're going to give an exemption to lower income folks who make under $50,000 a year and commute who go at least 10 trips. And then after that, we'll give them a 50% discount, right? So as it is, you're going to stick it to them for the first half of their rides, but then you're going to stop, charging them. You'll charge them a little less. But it only helps New York drivers. It does nothing for people in New Jersey. Right. So it doesn't help lower income folks from coming from Jersey who have to commute in, who have no choice. You're talking about a nurse. You're talking about someone, an electrician, right? An Uber driver, someone who works incredibly hard to make ends meet. Yeah. This does nothing to help them if you're from New Jersey. So that's unconstitutional. And that's what the governor pointed out this week.
So a spokesman for the MTA responded to the discrimination claims, right, by pointing out that drivers from outside of New Jersey pay tolls when driving within state. So here's the statement. John McCarthy's MTA head of policy and external relations said this. You got to be kidding. New Jersey collects millions from New York drivers who use the New Jersey Turnpike and Garden State Parkway, but it's somehow unconstitutional for New York to toll its own roads. What's your response to that? Because, some would say the argument is not the same about driving on a parkway or a turnpike.
So this zone where you're talking about what we've always cooperated, right, through Port Authority with, and we share 50-50, the GW Bridge. In fact, in New York, it's a little bit more of every time you go over that or through the tunnels, right? We split that. You go to the airports, we split the revenue from that. It's a region where a huge percentage of our national economy goes through. So we've cooperated for more than 100 years together. You go further into the states, you have, of course, each state has their own tolls. But in this region where we cooperate together, so you're going over the GW Bridge, you're paying your $17, right? You go into the city, you pay to park, you pay for gas, and now New York says, yeah, on top of that, despite the fact that we share this money, we're going to whack you with at least an additional $15 a day. And then we've decided on certain days now we're going to charge you surge pricing of another 25%. Oh, and by the way, we gave ourselves the right to raise tolls the first year in 2024 by 10%. So they're trying every which way to stick it. Hardworking folks. So this is just like there's a huge difference between a toll in South Jersey and a toll in this zone
within the city
where we do business together.
Okay, so here's the thing. We've been talking about this for years, right? And I've heard you're almost, and I mean this with respect, a broken record, right? Where you're saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Thank you, by the way. I appreciate it.
But I mean that with respect because moving forward, it's still moving. They're moving forward with their plan. So is everything you're saying falling on deaf ears, or do you really believe, real talk, that this could be stopped?
No, I think these lawsuits, and by the way, there's multiple lawsuits, including from the mayor of Fort Lee. I think these lawsuits, which are running through the courts now, have great merit and are at least going to slow down so we can have a full discussion of the long-term effects of actually the impact of on the environment and the cancer-causing pollution, on the impact, of course, on traffic. You know, all we're saying is let's have a proper discussion. And now that we know they don't need our money, right? Now that the math shows we don't need our money, to finally, I think the governor of New Jersey is saying to the governor of New York, hey, listen, you don't need our cash. You want us to cooperate on all these other things. We're not going to cooperate anymore together. This is going to really affect our joint relationship that's always been cooperative if you want to go ahead with this insane plan of yours. And I think that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, just real quick, though, before we let you go, are you going to be speaking at the hearings?
You kidding me? Might miss the chance to actually express my strong opposition to this? I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Okay. New Year, same question. You going to run for higher office?
New Year, same question. I'm running for Congress in 24. I hope you'll support. Well, that's pretty high. I'm pretty proud of that.
Congressman.
Congressman Gottheimer, thanks again.
It's always great to see you guys. Happy New Year, okay?
Happy New Year to you,
This year, we're going to stop the congestion tax.
Okay.
All right.